Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest narration of the web series The Human from a Dungeon. If you are new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 25. High Chief Ulamog, Adventurer Level NA, Orc Kokenian.
Well, what a coincidence,
I grinned. The three looked at me curiously, and Lath raised an eyebrow.
The most likely place to find someone who can read Drakon would be the Kingdom of Bolase, and that's exactly where I need you to go, I explained.
Bolase? The elves? Lath asked.
Yes, I need to send a request for reinforcements, I said. I had been worried that it would be seen as premature, but from what you just told me about the drow, it's best to act with haste.
If you wanted reinforcements, why not send a messenger to Calcutti as well?
Because if I ask for troops from Regent Oakmar, he has to supply them, I replied. Part of our blood pact includes a mutual defense treaty. But we have close relations with the Empire of Calcutti. Emperor Jack is not honor-bound to our defense. With everything that's been happening over that damned mine, I'm certain he'll require a game of 50 messengers before sending aid.
With respect, that's fecking Hanash shit, Lath said. You and Jack may have your issues, but the people of Calcutti would have his head on a spike if it got out that he didn't send troops to your defense. I looked at the dwarf incredulously. He met my stare and held it stubbornly, quite confident that he was correct. It is true that our people are close friends, even living among one another near the border. But could they possibly be close enough to rebel against the Emperor for the sake of my people? I broke my gaze and rubbed my chin thoughtfully.
All right,
I finally said.
I'll have you talk to Emperor Jack for me.
Wait, feck. Fine, fair enough, you got me. I grinned at the dwarf and turned back to the other three. York was the only one who didn't look confused. Nick was doing a better job at hiding his confusion than Nash was, but that's probably because he has absolutely no idea what any of us are talking about. It's not particularly important that they understand the scope of this mission, but I suppose the little history lesson is in order.
We have bad history with the Kingdom of the Night. Their king is a long-lived inbred bastard known as Yumluffen. His family has ruled ever since the drow won control of the region from the vampires. And every once in a while, they try to conquer their neighbors. It's usually just a matter of fighting off a bunch of conscripted peasants until they run out of blood to spill. But it seems this time around things are going to be a little different.
Nick looked concerned, and he raised his hand unexpectedly. I stared at him, mouth agape, trying to figure out what the hell he was doing. Nash turned to look at the boy and was also surprised and confused. It took the human a second to realize the source of our confusion, and he slowly put his hand down and cleared his throat.
There's vampires, like bloodsuckers, and that turn other people into vampires, he asked. Burn up in the sun, afraid of garlic, and grow holy symbols.
Yes, no, I stammered.
There are vampires, and they do drink blood, but most aren't harmed by the sun, and none of them are harmed by holy symbols. I don't know what garlic is, so that might be afraid of it. Can you kill them by driving a stake through their heart? He asked. I don't know how you would even begin to shove a stake through someone's heart, but no, they're able to quickly regenerate. You need to inhibit their movement by removing their head and then incinerate them, I answered. Easier said than done, though. They're incredibly fast and strong.
Some of them can turn people into vampires too, Lath added. You forgot that bit. I looked at him, and he grinned at me. He was enjoying how thrown off I was by this interruption. I cleared my throat.
Well, that's enough about vampires. They're hardly relevant.
It's not as if they're going to be attacking alongside the drow, I trailed off. Someone who wouldn't care about Lufen's opinions and want to conquer new lands that he would have difficulty controlling. Could the vampires be making a power play at the Night Kingdom? I looked at Lath, and his expression told me he caught on to my line of thinking. Lofen's newest general might be a vampire. But how?
Listen, I said, grabbing a letter from my desk. Your mission is to get to the Kingdom of Palliser as fast as possible and deliver this letter to Regent Oakmar. You'll have to take the main road. The adventurous path has been blocked by a rock slide, and we're having difficulty getting it cleared. Once you've delivered this letter, you're free from your obligations to me, and may return for your payment at your convenience.
What's the pay going to be?
Yulk asked. 3 gold each, 1 paid up front for travel costs, I replied. See reason for that.
Nath let out a low whistle. That's a lot of money for delivering a message. I'll need to raise my rates.
Don't you dare, I growled playfully. I'm paying them extra because I'm being selfish in giving them this job. Now, you 3, do you understand the task?
Yes, High Chief, they said in unison.
Good. Here, I said, handing the letter to Yulk. This should go without saying, but don't open it. If you break the seal, Regent Oakmar might be able to squirm out of his obligations. Not that he would, but it's better not to tempt fate.
Understood, the sorceress said, putting the letter in his robe.
I wanted to have a longer conversation, but something has come up, I explained. Come see me after you finish your task and collect your payment.
I waved at them to go, and they did. Once the door closed, I turned to my dwarven confidant.
Do you think the reason that the drow have suddenly become organized is due to a vampire? I asked.
I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, it really fucking doesn't, he answered. Drow can't become vampires, right? That's how they were able to boot the suckers out in the first place, isn't it?
Well, a vampire can't convert a drow. But what happens if they were to breed?
Oof! A half-drow, half-vamp would be a weak little thing. Not exactly the kind of strength that would inspire a military.
No, but a weakling would be the exact type of drow that King Lopen would handpick to lead his armies. He doesn't like strong generals because they become a threat to his dominance, I pointed out.
Crap! If he didn't know that it was a vampire and was born to nobility, it would be a shoo-in. So what? We've got an imminent vampiric coup in the Night Kingdom.
No. They need a place to gather their strength before making a move against Lopen. Preferably somewhere the king would have difficulty exerting influence over, and a place with plenty of potential vampire spawn.
Like the High Chieftain of Kekena, for instance. Why would they go about it in such a weird way, though? Wouldn't it make more sense to just start turning farmers on their borders?
No. If you're a vampire and you want to create enough vampires to make an army, you need control over the populace. You would need to be a noble, king, governor, or a conquering general, I said. I need to go to Emperor Jack and let him know about this possibility and request his aid. Oh, and don't forget about the damned mine.
Of course, Leith laughed as he stood up. I'll get his ass into gear one way or another. See you later.
Have a good journey.
As Leith left my office, Raisin entered. I raised an eyebrow at him.
What is it?
I asked. The messenger that arrived with the human, he explained. Do you want me to send him in?
Another Nullivan messenger, huh? I asked. What does he want?
I'm sure that he can tell you that himself, High Chief. Raisin treated me to a withering glare. I chuckled. All right, send him in. Raisin professionally rolled his eyes at my antics and left the room, soon returning with the messenger in question. High Chief Willimark, son of Creshnor, he began.
Enough,
I interrupted.
What is it, messenger?
Raisin looked annoyed as the messenger straightened and stared above my head. He took a moment to gather his nerves. High Chief Willimark, Chief Gluhan of Nuluva, would like to request that Nuluva be formally recognized as a village, and now meets the population and commerce requirements.
It wasn't already, I jokingly asked.
No, High Chief, Raisin said flatly, though Chief Gluhan's been doing his best to have it considered as such. However, at the moment, it is considered a settlement and isn't eligible for benefits of being a village.
Well, it's not exactly open to attack, so that must be after the business benefits.
I doubt that they say no to a garrison of troops, High Chief.
True enough,
I sighed. Of course, they wouldn't say no to a garrison. The soldiers would be getting money from Kekena and spending it in Nuluva. A drop in the bucket for us, but one hell of a boon for an up-and-coming village. Nuluva had already grown pretty rapidly, and becoming a village would likely make it grow even faster. Gluhon's done a hell of a job.
Fine, return to Chief Claherne and tell him Naluva is now a village, I said. Let him know the garrison will have to wait until the drow are dealt with.
Yes, High Chief. Raisin guided the messenger out of the office, and I was once again left alone with my thoughts and my mountain of paperwork. The human head looked interesting, shaped like a short elf, but it was missing the tinge of green in its skin and eyes, and its ears were round. Those eyes were strange, piercing and blue, a stark contrast to its black hair. A shade of blue I'd never seen in eyes before. It's obvious that it's from a foreign land. Perhaps I'll be able to ask it about that upon its return. I put the human from my mind and set about the task of filling out the paperwork that surrounded me. All of it was boring. Things like requisition forms that I really should be delegating, approvals and denials for proposals and tax stuff. There were some seemingly exciting papers, like the disposition of soldiers and training permissions and things of that nature. Unfortunately, these only sound exciting until you have to be the one to fill them out. It was rare that I could simply sign something and be done with it. I yawned as I set the large stack of papers I'd just completed in my done pile. I smiled in satisfaction at the dent I had made, and Raisin entered the room, holding a stack twice the size of the one I'd just completed.
What the hell is that?
I demanded, as he set the stack on my side to be done pile.
These are the forms to officially make Naluva a village, he replied. There's the recognition forms, tax forms, requests for updates to the various maps on the High Chiefdom, and of course congratulatory letters to the village leaders.
So, what you're saying is that I made more work for myself by being benevolent to the people of Naluva?
Yes, High Chief, Raisin said with a malicious smile. No good deed goes unpunished. Damn it. End of chapter. I would just like to thank the T5 supporters. Bushmaster 117, Casper Arnholtz, Dragzoon W.R.E, Elijah Silvercross, Gray, Jon Carrington, and Sevaren Serberous. Thank you very much.